power through vulnerability, both Oprah and Jacinda demonstrate that real power doesn't come from domination or control, but from being unafraid to be vulnerable. This keynote explores how authenticity invites trust and moves people emotionally and intellectually. When you think of power, what comes to mind? Is it a booming voice that fills a room, a towering figure behind a podium, a sharp command that silences a crowd? That's what we've been conditioned to believe. But look at Oprah. Look at Jacinda. They flipped that entire idea upside down and redefined what it means to lead. They didn't walk into rooms demanding respect. They walked in offering honesty. And that, right there, is where their power began. Vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's not the shaky voice, the teary eye, or the pause before admitting, "I don't know." Vulnerability is courage in its most raw, most honest form. When Jacinda Ardern stood before a grieving nation after the Christchurch attacks and said, "They are us," she wasn't reading from a script. She was offering her heart. She didn't cover up the pain, she carried it, and people followed her not because she acted like a hero, but because she reminded them they weren't alone. That is power, that is leadership, and Oprah. How many times have we seen her cry, sit in silence with someone's pain, admit her own wounds, tell the world about the darkest corners of her past? She didn't hide those stories, she turned them into stepping stones, because she knew the moment you tell your truth, you give someone else the courage to speak theirs. That's how movements begin. That's how healing begins. That's how change begins. People are drawn to authenticity like plants are drawn to sunlight. When you stand in your truth unapologetically, imperfectly, you create space for others to do the same. That is not a lesser form of power. That is a deeper, more transformational power than fear could ever hold. So let me tell you something. If you've ever felt like you weren't strong enough, loud enough, bold enough to lead, throw that idea away right now. You don't need to be anyone else. You don't need to armor up to be effective. You need to be brave enough to take the armor off. The world is craving real. The world is desperate for leaders who don't pretend to have it all figured out, but show up anyway. That's the kind of leader Jacinda was. That's the kind of guide Oprah has always been. And that's the kind of power that lives inside you. Yes, you, the power to connect, to inspire, to lift others up not by towering over them, but by standing right beside them. You don't lead through fear. You lead through feeling. You don't inspire by being perfect. You inspire by being real. If you're waiting to be ready, stop waiting. Vulnerability is not something to overcome. It is something to lean into. It's your greatest tool, your sharpest compass, your truest voice. When you speak from that place, people don't just hear you, they feel you. And when people feel you, they move with you, they rise with you. They believe they can do it too. That is what Oprah and Jacinda mastered, and that is what you are capable of right now. Exactly as you are. Let me know if you want this followed by keynote 2, F, or need a visual graphic. F. Summarizing this idea, empathy as leadership currency, Jacinda led a nation with empathy in the face of terror. Oprah has led a movement of healing through understanding. Empathy isn't a soft skill, it's the foundation of enduring influence and transformation. Empathy isn't some soft, fluffy, nice-to-have trait, it's a superpower. Yes, I asterisk superpower asterisk, and if you don't believe that, look at Jacinda Ardern. Look at how she held a country in the palm of her hands, not with threats, not with force, but with heart. In the middle of crisis, when the world watched to see how a leader would respond to unthinkable violence, she chose to lean in, not away. She walked into rooms full of people shattered by grief, and she didn't offer them empty words. She offered them her presence. Her silence, her tears, and when she covered her head out of respect for a Muslim community mourning their dead, she wasn't making a political move. She was making a human one. That kind of leadership, that's empathy in motion. That's leadership at its highest vibration. We've been told for too long that leaders have to be tough, unshakable, emotionless. But opera taught us the opposite. She sat in front of people and didn't fix their pain, she felt it with them. She didn't talk over them. She listened into them. Every person she interviewed left not just heard, but understood, and there's the magic. Empathy is not just understanding someone's story. It's letting their story touch you. It's getting out of your own narrative long enough to enter theirs. That's how trust is built. That's how influence is earned, and guess what? That's how movements are made. Because once people feel seen, they rise. Once they know they matter, they move. And once you show them that you care, they care back. Deeply. So, let me ask you, are you leading with empathy, or just trying to look like you have the answers? Are you speaking, or are you listening? Because the truth is, you can't lead people you don't understand. And you'll never understand people you don't take time to feel. This world doesn't need louder leaders. It needs leaders who are tuned in. And being tuned in doesn't mean you're soft. It means you're strong enough to sit with what's hard. It means you're brave enough to say, tell me more, help me see it through your eyes. That's what Oprah did. That's what Jacinda did. And that's exactly what you can do to start today in your family, in your work, in your community. Choose to see people. Choose to really hear them. Don't brush past their stories. Don't race to offer advice. Sit with them in the middle of it. Show them that their emotions matter, their voices matter, they matter. Because when people feel that kind of empathy, they feel safe. And when they feel safe, they grow. Empathy isn't weakness. It's leadership, it's power, it's fuel for transformation. It's the most radical, revolutionary, world-shifting thing you can practice. And it costs you nothing but your attention, your humility, and your heart. Let me know if you'd like to follow up with Keynote 3, F, or need a real life story example, F, to illustrate this point. Listening louder than you speak. True leaders don't just command, they absorb. Oprah's decades of interviews and Jacinda's careful communication during crises teach us how intentional listening builds human bridges stronger than any speech. Leadership isn't about who can talk the longest or shout the loudest. It's about who can listen the deepest. And not just the kind of listening where you're waiting for your turn to speak. I'm talking about real listening, intentional, present, powerful listening, the kind Oprah has mastered. The kind Jacinda uses like a compass. The kind that makes people feel like their voice has gravity. Their story has weight. Their truth matters. Because here's the secret. When people feel heard, they become unbreakable . That's the truth no one talks about. You don't have to solve someone's pain to transform it. You just have to meet them inside of it and say, I see you. Watch Oprah in any one of her interviews. She doesn't interrupt. She doesn't rush. She leans in. She lets the silence breathe because she knows something most people don't. Silence isn't empty. Silence is full of truth waiting to be discovered. And in that quiet space, she allows the person sitting across from her to unfold, to unravel, to reveal. That's power. Not the kind of power that dominates a room, but the kind of power that holds a mirror to someone's soul and says, you are worth hearing. In Jacinda, when she stood in front of journalists, in front of broken communities, in front of Parliament, she didn't just deliver messages. She echoed the voice of the people who trusted her to carry it. Why? Because she listened first. She paid attention. She learned, and then she led. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room to lead. You just have to be the one who cares enough to listen . That's how trust is built. That's how bridges get formed between cultures, between pain, between generations. Listening is the leadership tool no one trains you in, but it will take you further than any degree ever could. So here's my question for you. Are you listening, or are you just waiting for your chance to speak? Are you trying to prove something? Or are you trying to understand someone? Because the leaders who change the world are the ones who aren't afraid to be quiet, to ask instead of answer, to say, tell me your story, and mean it with every fiber of their being. That's what it means to lead from a place of respect, and when you respect someone enough to truly listen, they remember it forever. You plant a seed inside of them that says you are worthy, you are valuable, you are enough, and that seed, it grows. Don't underestimate the power of listening. It doesn't make you small. It makes you mighty. It doesn't mean you're passive. It means you're present, and presence is rare. In a world addicted to noise, be the person who brings clarity. In a culture that moves too fast, be the one who slows down enough to see asterisk. Because once you start leading with your ears instead of just your mouth, you'll realize something powerful. The answers were always in the room. You just had to make space for them to rise. Let me know if you'd like to continue with Keynote 4, F, or get a summary infographic, F of all 3 so far. Redefining strength as softness in a world obsessed with hard power. These women show us that kindness, compassion, and calmness are not weaknesses. They are the new strength. This keynote reframes feminine leadership as a force to be respected, not underestimated. Strength isn't what we've been told it is. It's not the clenched jaw, the furrowed brow, the barked orders across a boardroom. That version of strength, the one that shouts to be seen, that dominates instead of connects, it's outdated. It's loud because it's insecure. But what if I told you that real strength is quiet, that it's soft? That it's tender, that it doesn't push its weight around, but holds space for others to rise. Look at Jacinda Ardern. Look at how she walked through crisis with grace that didn't waver, a calm that didn't crack under pressure. She didn't puff up her chest to look strong. She softened her posture, opened her heart, and invited a nation to heal. That wasn't weakness. That was strength beyond measure. That was power rooted in presence, not performance. The world expects women in leadership to act like men in order to be respected, but Jacinda rewrote the rules. She didn't hide her compassion, she led with it. She didn't numb her emotions, she allowed them to guide her. And through that, she showed every girl, every mother, every leader that you don't have to strip away your humanity to be powerful. In fact, it's your humanity that asterisk makes asterisk you powerful. Oprah has done this for decades. She sat across from people society had written off, dismissed, judged, and she saw them anyway. She held space without judgment, without ego, without the need to fix. That's not passive, that's powerful. That's someone who knows who they are so deeply. They don't need to prove it. And maybe that's where true leadership begins. In the courage to be soft in a hard world. In the refusal to let the world's sharp edges cut you into someone you're not. You see, it's easy to get defensive. It's easy to lash out, but it takes strength to respond with calm. It takes bravery to say, I'm still going to lead with love, even when it's not returned. Because love isn't weak. Kindness isn't naive. They are radical. They are transformative. And when you lead with softness, you show people another way. You show them that control isn't the same as leadership, that fear isn't the same as respect, that domination isn't the same as influence. So if you've ever been told you're too sensitive, too emotional, too gentle to lead, let this be your permission to stop shrinking. You don't have to harden to be effective. You don't have to play small to fit into someone else's version of strong. You are allowed to lead with softness and still take up space. You are allowed to cry and still command a room. You are allowed to care deeply and still be taken seriously. In fact, that's exactly what the world needs now. Leaders who are unafraid to be human. Leaders who don't armor up to protect themselves, but open up to protect others. That is the new strength. That is the leadership revolution. That is what Oprah and Jacinda have mastered. And that is what you can embody starting right now. Let me know if you'd like to keep going with Keynote 5. F, or get a leadership worksheet. F, to apply these lessons in real life. Using platforms for purpose, not ego, whether it's Oprah's book club, changing authors' lives, or Jacinda's refusal to use her position for personal gain. This keynote unpacks how power used in service of others is the highest calling. Power isn't about how many people follow you. It's about asterisk, why asterisk they follow you. And if the reason is ego, if it's fame, status, control, it will always be hollow. But if the reason is purpose, that kind of power echoes long after you're gone. Look at Oprah. She could have built an empire around herself. She could have made it all about her name, her brand, her image, but she didn't. She used her platform to elevate others, to heal, to educate, to shine a spotlight on stories the world had ignored. Every time she handed that stage to someone else, every time she turned the lens toward another voice, she proved that true power isn't hoarded, it's asterisk, shared asterisk. That's leadership in action. That's ego in check and purpose on fire. And Jacinda, she didn't just sit in the highest office of her country. She asterisk served asterisk in it. She didn't cling to the title of Prime Minister like it was her identity. She held it like it was her responsibility. And when she knew her tank was empty, when her clarity and strength had run their course, she didn't hold on out of pride. She stepped down with grace, with honesty, with courage, because power for her was never about the seat. It was about the people. That is purpose over ego. That is one of the rarest things you will ever see in politics or leadership or life. And it's the exact model we need to follow. So ask yourself, are you building for recognition or are you building for impact? Are you chasing applause or are you chasing alignment? Because the truth is, purpose will sustain you when ego burns out. Ego needs validation. Purpose just needs action. And when you lead from purpose, you don't care who gets the credit. You care about what gets changed. That's how Oprah showed up. That's how Jacinda moved. That's how real leaders rise. Not to be adored, but to be useful. Not to be admired, but to be effective. Not to collect praise, but to make asterisk progress asterisk. And let me tell you something. You don't need a big platform to lead with purpose. You don't need a mic or 1 million followers or a CEO title. What you need is clarity. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing. You need to know what you believe in, what breaks your heart, and what sets your soul on fire. That's your purpose. That's your fuel, and once you find it, ego won't be able to touch you. You won't waste time trying to impress people who don't matter. You'll spend your energy serving those who do. You'll speak differently, walk differently, lead differently. Because when purpose takes over, everything changes. Your voice gets louder not to be heard, but to amplify what matters. Your actions get bolder, not to prove something, but to asterisk move asterisk something. That is what Oprah teaches us. That is what Jacinda reminds us. That is what you are capable of the moment you stop performing and start aligning. Your power becomes unstoppable when your purpose becomes undeniable. Let me know if you'd like to continue with Keynote 6. F or C, an action plan work, sheet F based on this principle. Creating change from the inside out. Both women didn't wait for the world to change. They embodied the change first. This keynote teaches how to lead from within by aligning values, mindset, and courage into action. You don't wait for the world to change. You asterisk become asterisk the change. You don't sit on the sidelines waiting for someone else to fix it. Lead it, heal it, shift it. You get up. You show up. You start with yourself. That's exactly what Oprah did. That's exactly what Jacinda Ardern did. They didn't inherit influence. They created it by becoming the kind of people who could carry it. They did the inner work first. They built the values. They faced the wounds. They clarified their voices. They didn't wait for the outside world to give them permission. They gave themselves permission to evolve, to grow, to lead. And because of that, they changed asterisk, everything asterisk around them. Look at Oprah's story. She didn't come from power. She came from trauma, from poverty, from rejection. But she didn't let that define her. She let it shape her. She transformed her pain into empathy. She turned her setbacks into stories that would lift millions. Because she realized early on, if I don't take responsibility for how I show up in this world, I'll stay stuck in someone else's story. And once she reclaimed her narrative, she gave everyone else permission to do the same. That's how you create change from the inside out. You break the cycle within you, and that ripple moves outward like a wave across generations. Jacinda Ardern didn't become a transformational leader because she chased power. She became one because she embodied the kind of leader she wished the world had more of. She led with integrity before she had authority. She walked with humility before she had headlines. She practiced empathy, clarity, and calm asterisk before asterisk the cameras were on. And when the weight of a nation rested on her shoulders, she didn't buckle, because she had already built the strength to carry it. She had already done the work inside, and asterisk, that's asterisk the lesson. Don't wait until the world tests you to start building your character. Build it now. Anchor yourself in values now. Practice grace, resilience, courage asterisk now asterisk. Because that's how you create real, lasting change. Not just in systems, in asterisk souls asterisk, starting with your own. So here's your wake-up call. Stop looking for answers out there. Start becoming the answer in here. You want more empathy in the world. Asterisk be asterisk empathy. You want more courage. Asterisk live asterisk courage. You want leaders who listen, who care, who heal. Then start with yourself. Lead from the inside out. Don't perform your values asterisk, embody asterisk them. Don't preach transformation asterisk, practice asterisk it. That's how movements are born. That's how cultures are shifted. That's how revolutions begin quietly, deeply, from within one single person who dares to live the truth out loud. The world doesn't change when someone shouts louder. It changes when someone decides to live better. So, be that someone. Let your life be the example. Let your actions speak the language of integrity. Let your energy remind people what's possible. That's the greatest power you will ever have. And once you commit to that inner revolution, no one can take it from you. Not fear, not doubt, not failure. You'll move through the world not trying to change everything overnight, but changing asterisk everything you touch asterisk simply by being who you are. Fully and fearlessly let me know if you want a complete summary of all keynotes, F, or a visual poster, F, to represent this message.